Let's talk about how to keep the moisture in your pots, containers, and raised beds. Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. My name's Kim and I was in the process of putting some mulch on top of my potatoes, and I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about my process. Now I have a video already on when I installed these potatoes into this metal raised bed. This is a Vego metal raised bed. And if you're interested in these metal raised beds, please click on the link below. It'll take you to the website. You can see everything they have to offer. But today, the potatoes are starting to break the ground, and I'll bring you in close so you can see it. And so it's time for me to get them mulched. By putting a light mulch on top of your potatoes, it will hold in that moisture that your potatoes so dearly need, especially in the warmer months. And it also will reduce the amount of water you need to do or watering you need to do. So mulch is always good. And there are many different types of mulch. You can use grass clippings. You can do a leaf mulch. Today I am using a straw, and I just purchased this from my local feed and seed store. And it's an easy straw seedling. And it says no mess. It's got some kind of tact. I don't know what that means, but it's 99% weed free. And I don't want to add any weeds to my raised beds that I just installed. So we're going to add this straw into these beds, and I'm going to show you kind of the process. I mean, it should be a very short, simple video, but let me show you what I'm doing. You should be able to see that all of my potatoes are starting to stick their little heads up. They're deciding to come to the party. Over here as well, the purple Viking, they're coming up as well. Now, I am in Southwest Ohio, Zone 6A, and it is April 21st, and I am not past my last frost date. And I looked in the forecast, and we may have frost tonight, maybe, and one more day this week. But these potatoes will be perfectly fine. I planted them, and since I've planted them, we've had about 3 frosts since I planted them a few weeks ago, and they are beautiful. The potatoes will be fine as long as they're under the ground. Now, if I had huge stems up to here and we got down into the 20s, I may have some damage to the stems, but the roots will be just fine. But mine are just starting to poke their little heads up, so they are perfectly fine for the weather that we're having. So I am going to add about 1 inch or 2 of this straw to this raised bed, as well as to some pots that I have behind me. Now I'm covering up the little green leaves that are starting to pop their heads up, but that's not going to hurt them at all. They'll still be able to poke their heads through this light straw mulch that I'm adding to the top of the bed. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing to all of the pots that I have that have potatoes in them. Now, all of my beds need some type of mulch to help with weed control as well as holding in that moisture. I usually use leaf mulch, but the number of beds I have this year have just grown like crazy. So this year I needed to buy a little straw, but we will come back with leaf mulch as well for this bed as well as some of the other raised beds in the garden. And if you follow me, it looks like a whole lot more pots and containers of potatoes than I did in my video, and you would be correct. I've put just a few more pots. Okay, a lot more pots of potatoes. We love our potatoes. And even though I have a year's supply for my family, I'm growing for more families this year. So I wanted to make sure that I have enough potatoes to share with my family and my friends. So the straw went a lot farther than I thought. This thing says it's 2.5 cubic feet. And so it says one bale covers 600 square feet. And it's already covered everything. And so I'm going to go ahead and put some straw in this bed too. This bed is fully planted out. So let's put some straw in this bed as well, since it's right here where I'm working. I see some little weeds trying to come up, and we do not want that. No weeds. I don't want to have to weed this bed in any way. Now this bed is full of cool season crops. They can take a light frost, and we're supposed to have a light frost tonight. Mulch is another way to give you some insulation for your plants for those weather changes. So in here I have broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. This is, I think, a bib. It's lettuce. I think it's lentis winter, actually. And then I have Korean cabbage here, and it's kind of like a Napa cabbage along that side. Now that I have the straw in all of my beds, I'm going to go ahead and water it in just to keep the straw from blowing away. Not that I think it would, because it is kind of what they call, it's got the tack to it, so it's not going to be light and fluffy. But I'm going to go ahead and water it in. That'll help keep it from flying away if we get strong winds or anything like that. So we will get this watered in. Now, it's a cool day. There's not going to be a lot of sun today. And I've been gone for about a week, and we had a little bit of rain while I was gone, but nothing was watered in. So a little extra water won't hurt. And I bought 2 bales of that straw. I wasn't sure how far it was going to go, so I bought plenty. So I may be using straw on some of the wooden raised beds as well. Now you have to be careful what kind of mulch you use on your vegetables. A few years ago, I was using some grass clippings on my containers, and I had my girls go grab up the grass clippings. I'm like, hey, go get the grass clippings, let's put them on top of the potatoes so that we can mulch the potatoes. And so they went and got all the grass clippings, and they started covering the potatoes up. And then I realized that they had got grass clippings from just behind me here. And my neighbors treat their grass. They put weed killer and all kinds of other chemicals on it. And so that's the grass clippings that they brought. And I killed my potatoes in a few containers. Once I realized where they got them from, I tried to get it off and, make sure I got it off of the right containers, but I did kill some of the potatoes in some of my containers. So I no longer will use grass clippings from my yard because I know my neighbors treat their lawn. and my garden is far enough from it that I typically don't have any issues with those chemicals bothering any of my plants, because one, I'm far enough away, and I'm above ground, which means that the roots would have to seep all the way into my native soil for me to have an issue. If you're interested in any of my containers, they are all in the descriptions below. My grow bags, my pots, the Vego garden metal raised beds are in there as well. I try to keep everything in my description below so that you have quick access for anything that I have that you might want to use. Everything is mulched, everything is watered in, and everything is just waiting for everything to pop their little heads up from a potato standpoint. And we don't want any weeds to pop their little heads up in this bed. There's one more step in this process, but we're going to have to save it for another video, because once these sprouts and these stems come up and we have green potato leaves everywhere, we're going to need to support those leaves, and we will talk about that when the time comes. I hope you enjoyed this one more step in the process on how I manage my potatoes and how I ensure we have good moisture in my beds and in my pots, because we don't want them to dry out. We need to keep that constant moisture to the soil. We don't want them soggy, but we just want them moist, and we don't have to water twice a day either. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I can keep these coming for you. I want to inform you on everything that I'm doing in my garden. So until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you stop by Kim's Cozy Corner. Bye.